Favorite outfit.
Top of your mind,
All right, so my favorite outfit, just off the bat,
off the bat.
is actually from one of the most recent music videos that we've shot.
Oh,
It's not out yet.
It's not out
It's
yet.
not out yet. And surprisingly, it's also my favorite makeup done on that character.
I see.
Yes, it's the character of a saint.
Oh.
Yes, that's
see.
what the song's called.
You're gonna
So
have
you have
to-
yet to see it.
You have to
You have
wait
yet
for
to see
that.
it. Wait, when does this come out? You have yet to see it. That's a good question. So we have a stylist called stylist designer, I should say.
Oh.
His name is Chun Young.
Okay, shout out.
Yes, Chun Young, and he really does. He really is an essential part when it comes to conceptualizing a lot of these characters. For me, drawing character, the concept of the character is so important. Just visually, that does really come across as your first impression of what that character looks like.
Right.
And it does speak volumes. If you bring out the Joker, for example, you have his iconic lip scar, I guess you could say, that strikes as a
Yes.
more grading picture, but that creates the character so much. So when we come up with this, we obviously develop the backstories of where this character, for example, Mido,
Okay.
when you think of the character, more than what he's wearing, more than what he's dressed up as, you think about the white eye, the one white blind eye.
Right.
Maybe not blind, but when it does come to the ideation and the creation of these characters, me and Chun Young really go back and forth, and a lot of his influences, obviously because he's a designer. Sorry, I have a bit of a grills in.
No,
He's a designer, so he does put in a lot of effort into bringing a lot of different materials and making all of these things come to life.
Right.
You should see his sketches off the chain.
I'm curious.
Later.
And that's interesting that you brought up your
Not the Joker, Harley Quinn. I'll take that.
Yeah.
You take
Um,
okay.
No, it's doing right. So, sorry, I was about to say the Joker. Insanity, depicting your manic highs. It has to look like chaos. I mean, it's funny that you say Harley Quinn. It's she's a burst of excitement, joy, but but there's a tension to it.
Right.
Almost lethal, dangerous, spontaneous. That's why you get that crazy laugh and the crazy grin, and she pulls out like guns and just fires them away like it's nothing. But I'm sure they weigh a ton. But and it also strikes the same imagery. So that's probably where a lot of the similarities lie, because you don't know where insanity is going to bounce off to, tick off to, and it's just giving the idea of spontaneity into the costume. So it has to be very, very bold. Yes, there is a distinct sonic depiction of each character. And the reason being is, I do acquaint a lot of these characters, not just visually with the character, but obviously sonically.
Right.
So Mido is paired with almost like a dark, ominous vibe. So for me, I do like to put Renaissance into this. So
I see.
you have the idea of back then, a lot of orchestra. A lot of orchestra,
Love that.
a lot of pipe organs and the choir, the Holy Gospel, and a lot of those sounds really do create these characters. I want another character that we've been touching upon, and it's an idea that the person Emmy, she's been helping us with a lot of the scripting and everything.
Shout out, Emmy.
There's another thing that we wanted to introduce, the idea of sirens. I'm not sure if you, and yes, aspect of this comes from the Mido law. We will depict on this a little bit more. So that's just in terms of that.
I see.
Now, in terms of genre, you could put almost like dark orchestra pop, whatever that may sound like. So beautiful, quite close distinction. I do like a bit of jazz in there,
Love that too.
obscurity of it. And then you have Insanity, where you can imagine, very bold sounding, very high tempo. What does a manic high feel like?
Kind of cool.
Feels like you're kind of
Everything.
crazy, just off the chain. Literally, it's the idea of bringing these life experiences from these characters to a sonic level.
I see.
And a lot of times it is a reflection of what you're just kind of going through. So I like to acquaint that with that. So what's Ian's sound? What's something in between?
Right.
It's country.
I know you were because.
I have yet to find it. Maybe it's rock. Going back to my roots, heavy metal.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah,
I
there
love
we
that.
go.
That'll
Yes.
be fire actually.
There we go.
Hello.
Mighty 3. So right now we're working on a hybrid. It is more of a cinematic
Right.
sequel and not sequel, prequel, sorry, to the Origins of Insanity. And that in itself is we're trying to strike about 8 videos back to back and turn it into like a cinematic masterpiece.
My gosh.
But that is only a stepping stone towards what we are trying to make, what we're trying to make into real life, which by 2026 we're hopefully trying to put out a cinema line for Mario 3.
Ooh.
It is the epitome and the is what we're trying to build up to. We're going to block out about a year. And I'm saying this now, so I can't take this back. So we're going to try blocking out about a year into creating this. And
It's
I can
documented.
only imagine how hard this is going to be.
It's gonna be a lot.
It's going to be a lot, but
We
you know,
got
I
this.
mean, we talked about it actually.
Yeah.
We talked about it, and you know, we really do want to bring this to life, bring it to screens, and hopefully, like maybe into streaming platforms. But
course.
just because it's going to be an expansion of the DPR universe, and the story and the conclusion and the plot twist, you can only imagine. Will it be the end of Mario though? Now that's something that's a hard take.
I know.
That is a cliffhanger, and you know, in the absence of something, it's an introduction to the presence of another. As I would always like to say, it's the end of something is the beginning of something new, and most likely that's going to be the case.
Okay.
As for Mario, we don't know what's going to happen. So just being based on set, I'll just talk it from a set perspective.
For sure.
If you're working with a substantially large amount of people, you have the gaffer team, you have the art team, you have on deck runners and whatnot, the DOP and the camera crew. So you're working with a huge amount of different, I guess you could say, blocks of people.
Right.
I think I've always realized the hardest thing was keeping the tension relatively similar between each shoot and each intervals, and not letting that drop. And it's kind of having everyone on board for the same vision. You see, I always pride myself on making sure everyone is on board for the vision first and foremost. More times than not, I see a lot of productions just going about it, you know, just for the sake of it.
Right.
But I do want them heavily invested in it. You know, I do want to bring the production crew with me on the ideation of these concepts and mood boards, because they have to feel like they're a part of it. So the DOP has to understand what type of movement this character plays more than anything. And granted, the AD is the one that controls the set, and you know, usually a lot of times the director does have to only just focus purely on the artist or the actor or the actress and the set itself. So there's a lot happening, and there's always something that will go wrong. That's a given. You have to give it. So just taking all of those factors into account, it's the orchestration of everyone, bringing the team together and keeping that momentum. It's going to have its slopes, ups and downs, but it's bringing the team in together, keeping the momentum going, and that equates into a successful shoot. That's what I like to say. If you get past even 70% of what you have in mind, I consider that a success. So yeah, that is pretty much the biggest tackle and the biggest struggle. And there should be a lot more credit going to the people that are behind the scenes. You don't understand. They literally make this come to life.
Absolutely agree. So
So that's a good question. It was a rhetorical, because you answered it. No, so a lot of times when I'm running from and what I'm running to, it kind of feels it's a depiction of what's really happening in my life. You know,
Right.
I'm running from something. I'm running from the law. My time's limited here, ladies and gentlemen. As you guys heard, no, I'm just my bad. No, but you're right. In my dreams, I'm always running. Right? Even though in your dreams you just run like this on the spot.
Yeah.
If you notice that. No, but I've always realized if you're not running away from something, you're running towards something, and that's why I say you've clearly hit it on the spot. And I mean that's in life in general, right? You're working your way towards something and you're leaving something behind. You're leaving the past, you're going to the future. But present moment is literally what I think varies on the speed of how much you're going and how much you're leaving. Keeping that in mind, every time I'm running away from something, it's because I need to get away from it.
Right.
You know, and depicting that to be the past probably might be the case. Or if I'm running towards something, it's because I just have to get there ASAP, you know, because I'm hungry. You're right, you've nailed it.
Okay.
I don't know if that was your intention, but you got. Just off the bat, there was no distinction between those two. But now that you say it,
You just give him ideas.
any idea is a good idea, right? So, no.
Sure.
To be fair, Limbo is part of the hybrid universe, and you'll actually find out what that actually means when Insanity holds his stomach and he's screaming and he's coming out of Limbo. As for the stabbing, I mean that sounds a bit graphic, doesn't it? As for the yapping of as for the stabbing. Back to that. Of Mairo, that is in itself a symbolism of the knife being a element. It's sharp, it's edgy.
Right.
It's the edgy element.
Yeah.
It's just the edgy element. No, but that is a depiction of something that resides in the universe of Mairo. As for Limbo, it just so happens to be in the stomach area.
Right. Yeah.
Trust me, I didn't eat anything bad, maybe. No, so the Limbo universe, when Insanity grabs his stomach, and there's a specific reason why he does that. And I can only reveal that once Hybrid is out. Right. Catch. I'll have to reassess a lot of these things.
Looking out
To do one human thing.
One human thing.
One thing.
All right. Oh my gosh, I've been waiting my whole life to say this.
Oh. What is it gonna be?
If there's one thing I'll teach Laurie,
Yes.
it would be editing. Exceptional editing. Just have Laurie do.
I mean,
Can you expand on why you think that?
she's there all the time.
True.
Yes. Might have a little struggle tapping a little of the keys and stuff like that. But touchpads.
Yeah. Sure. She could organize it for you at least,
Yes. No. Oh my goodness. If she can organize the edits,
Yeah.
God, man, that I'm telling you, my life would be complete. Actually, that's a good question. I think I feel the most confident now. Actually, when I'm put on the spot, and that might be a funny thing to say because usually when a lot of people are put on the spot, it gives them more panic. You might kind of freak out and everything. But I think I've learned to understand. I work best instinctively when I'm put on the spot. I love improv, and I feel like truly that's when you really don't have you have to really go rely on your instincts and whether what situation it is. So, that's when you're the most vulnerable. So I like to change my way of thinking, and I don't think that's the most, I guess you could say, most compelling way of feeling weak rather than feeling strong. So yeah, I think actually when I'm the most vulnerable. Yeah. I appreciate you. That's a beautiful question, though. Thank you. Thanks, sir.
Okay.
First of all, very well constructed.
Very good.
Question. Someone did their research. First of all, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And for Misunderstood, she is a character that's trapped in the lore of the Maito series. So you're right. It is a depiction of what. So if Ian has a lover, all right, and let's say so there has to be a rendition for the lover for Maito, and hence also a rendition for Insanity, because they interpret love and the figure of love very differently. In the Maito lore, we see Misunderstood, but we barely scratch at it, and we don't really know the real meaning behind why she exists. And I won't uncover that just yet, because you're right. There is a further plot to it, but just like there's Misunderstood for Maito, there's a Misinsanity for Insanity. Yes, I mean, hope that answers a little bit. Yes, but those are the two depictions. And the lady in the picture for the Maito movie, for Maito 2, yes, she is Misunderstood.
Oh.
Household chore.
Good one.
Oh.
I think it's cleaning up my desktop. I think that's a chore in itself.
It is.
That's the one chore I do like, cleaning up my desktop after a long day of editing and just a long day of editing really. My desktop looks like a mess. It looks like a junkyard. So cleaning that up always makes you feel good, right? That's a good question.
Okay. That's deep.
Well, I think for me personally right now, I do like just the idea of living. I know that sounds a little too vague, but thank God we're alive. I think we take that for granted way too much sometimes, right? The fact that you can breathe and you can wake up and you can, go to all sorts of things and experience many multitudes of emotions, good or bad. I always say there's nothing. I mean, the good times don't last, but so do the bad. None of them last, which I think makes it essentially very valuable. I like the idea that, I mean, this might be a bit maybe dark, but I like the idea that everything comes to an end, right? Because if it didn't, no one would go out and no one would truly see the value in seeing like how many sunsets you have left to see and everything. So everything has a timer, but that kind of pushes you to the edge to enjoy it a little bit more, I would say. All right, you see the value in it. Everything becomes a rarity, everything is a commodity. So yes, I mean, life itself, that's a good question.
Very good.
Yeah, most definitely 100%. I always say that everything has a funny way of working. There's a balance to everything. So how much you give in and how much you give up really does come back in all sorts of multitudes. And in my case, I did give up quite a bit. Not some willingly, some not. However, that is, they say that is the cost of whatever that may be, whether that be fame, whether that be any type of success. There is a good balance to it. It's how much you give, and it's I like to reference it off of the anime Full Metal Alchemist. If you guys have seen that, when they want to bring something back, but it has to be of equal magnitude.
exchange,
Yes,
yeah.
equal exchange. I think that's how just the law of everything works these days. And therefore, for example, if you're on a work basis, that's the one thing that won't betray you. I mean, it could sound sad, but how much you put in is really how much you get. And I think that's the beauty of it. It's sometimes understanding if you go down a certain path, there are going to be things that you would have to give up in exchange to obtain something. For example, for me, if I was to name one thing, I feel like I've lost that experience of just going out to any bar and getting smashed. No, I was kidding. Sorry. No, sorry. I mean, but you know what I mean. So, because you're a public figure, you uphold a certain role, a model. But as you should, by the way, I'm not advocating for doing any of that, unless you want to. So, but you know what I mean. So, some things I do miss, but at the end of the day, I do have to accept it, and there is some beauty to that, and we go on with our lives. Yeah, absolutely. Just it's part of the process. But thank you, Theo.
Alondra, you have a
It feels half as good as Studio Ghibli's. I mean, of course. Actually, it's a funny thing that you bring that up. We have been in the talks of creating an animated series, and obviously that is something that, I mean, the advantages of that is you can obviously delve more into a world, which you can't with analog settings. If you go into a digital setting, then you can make my arms elongated. You could pull my nose, and the nose can do a dance. So there's a lot of limitations we can literally break, and in the case of the world of DPR, the universe that DPR offers, we do want. Sorry, I'm hearing a double me. It must be minor or something. Sorry. Anyway, so the whole idea of the world building for DPR is essentially being able to explore and give you guys insight to the exploration of these lands, these vast adventures, and obviously a comical series, whether that be a comical series or an animated series, will give so much more depth and substance to that. And I'm sure you guys will be extremely excited if we get to give you a tour of the other side through the animated series, and we are working on it. Funny enough, we are working on it. Yes, so there's a bit of a spoiler as I'm the spoiler.
Thank you for spoiler, darling. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks, Lord Bonnie. You're Miss Insanity.
Oh.
Yes. I nearly fell off my chair after hearing that.
Oh my God.
Literally.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I love it. Well, all the people on our team, we love seeing their accounts. Question. Insanity is a depiction of, obviously, the idea of one losing his sanity, his or her sanity, and I think a lot of the meta that these people use, for example, the Joker, or you have the Mad Hatter. They just have a distinct feature of what it looks like for someone to go crazy, which is very careless, reckless, spontaneous. it has a lot of those traits and those characteristics based on this character, and a lot of these times when I like to think of what it feels like to go manic, right, extremely manic, essentially it was the depiction of someone absolutely having no fear, no fear of nothing, no fear of getting peanut butter more than jelly, there's no fear of getting stung by a bee, you name it. And it's the idea of taking that manic form and turning that into a character that creates this explicit idea of what insanity looks like, and that again could have been done really well with Joker or the Mad Hatter, or like someone like Edward Scissorhands, it all forms an idea of insanity. So that was the whole process of bringing the manic highs to a complete character creation of what it feels like, what he looks like. Is it to be revered? The whole idea of turning that into a clown, because clowns are not afraid to get hurt, and by the way, a little bit terrifying. I'm not.
Yes.
I'm not too much of a clown enthusiast, but also you agree. Okay, yeah. So I'll keep that in mind. You guys, I don't want to be too scary on camera. Remember, it's a character, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the clown god. It is a homage to my older days. Sea clown, very fitting. So yes, it does align very very much so with the real life experiences that I've had, but also depicts a very ideal image of what psychosis and this mental manic high looks like. And trust me, there's a lot more in store for the I would say the development of this character. A lot more. It's a lot more substance, a lot more intricate weaves and turns, and you'll see a lot of that in the hybrid. First of all, I like to think of the creative writer's block as not a problem, right? So a lot of times if we head into this idea that we shouldn't be hitting a creator's block, that's already your first fault. And sorry, there's a siren going on here. They're coming to get me. I knew it. Sorry guys, my stay's overdue.
Damn.
I knew I should be spoiling too much. No, but my bad. Sorry guys. Creative writer's block shouldn't be taken as a problem, but rather part of the process, right? I think it's key, right? If you're running into certain blocks, right, it means you've run out of juices. Means you've created a channel where you've pretty much repeated going back and forth, and you've worn that out. So if you're going down, I like to give the example, if you're going down the same street, if you keep going down the same street, in the beginning, yeah, you do notice the color of the tree, and you do notice a car, and you go down and you notice one thing more every time you go down, but eventually you're going to run out of things to notice, right? So what I like to do is I like to input myself into a setting where I've never been, kind of edging yourself to do something new. You hear it all the time, but you can't expect to be creative if you keep filling the tank with the same product. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear, but if you can't, you know what I mean, right? The same yeah. So you need to filter that out. You need something new. Maybe go outside. Maybe go rock climbing, but maybe try rock climbing with flippers. Do something absolutely out of this world, or it doesn't have to be like that. You could just go watch a movie and enjoy time. Just accept the downtime, refill your tank, and then head in with that again. So yeah.
Great.
So I do think it's autofunctional because it's really based on my life, right? It is based on the realism of my life. Therefore, it does come out straight away, So if I haven't gone through something, if I haven't really pertained into experiencing it, that time and that moment, I do have nothing to say really. And because I've made it such a way for me to write music based on what really does happen to me, that's the only way I really know. And the closest I can get to a depiction of something that's a little bit an extension of that is if I design a mood board and I create a scene, right? Whether that be what that scene looks like, what time of day it is, what character is being input into that scene, why that character is there, how that character is feeling, and what's the motive behind that. And creating a scenario such as that, let's say I feel sad. There's so many layers to being sad. You know, you could just be sad, like, oh my god, I'm not getting to watch my favorite kids show. Right, I'm sad. But there's a lot of layers to it, and I like peeling a lot of layers. I like substance. So what I like to do is draw that scene up, and then talk about how that person feels, whether it be in that person's perspective or flip it around, and maybe talk about it in the perspective of the bird that's flying by. And I've always found that rather interesting because you have so much more to say. So usually the scene comes first, visual imagery, and then the sonic. And I think immediately, you know, it really does come from the idea of what you think that scene sounds like, what do you think that person sounds like, that bird sounds like, you know. So a lot of that put into one really gives me my answer. Yeah. When do I feel most at peace? You know, it's kind of funny because I don't think I've realized it myself, but I think I feel the most at peace when I'm actually, from the outside looking in, the most chaotic. And I think that's my language of peace. It's usually when people like me have a time to stop and think about what's actually happening, that more times than not, I feel like I lose myself in that chaos. You know, that's to say, if you have a lot of thoughts, if you have a lot of too much time to think about things, I often find myself losing myself too much in it. You know, it's kind of like, but then you really have to think about it. You're really giving so much power to the idea of thoughts that don't really take a course of action. And I think on more times than not, that does get down to more of a turmoil and dangerous path. So, you know, they say use things as a distraction, and I think I do keep myself occupied. Some people might think, all right, till when? Right, till when do you keep yourself occupied? Don't you run out? Aren't you just physically drained then? But for me personally, that's when I felt like the most peaceful, when I have a team around me, right? When I have a team that is completely supportive of what we want to do, what we want to show you guys. And when I see that team in action, you know, it gives me a thrill, but it also gives me a very peaceful state of mind, knowing like this person's in fruition, you know, this person's doing so much, and this person's growing. And for me, that matters, right? It really matters about what we build, but it matters about who we build it with. And obviously that's inclusive of dreamers. So just giving the notion of that, I get a lot of sense of peace, right? And so what was the latter half of your question, Vanessa? I realized, and I don't know, some people might disagree, but I realized there is no balance sometimes with sometimes the things that you have to do. And sometimes when you try looking for that balance, that disrupts the balance, ironically. I think the idea of it's okay to not be balanced in moments like this is the idea of accepting that and keeping balance. Contradicts itself a little bit, but I do realize that's kind of usually the case. And like I said, there's nothing wrong. You'd have to be bad at something to be good at it, you know. So taking the idea of there's no balance in that too. I mean, that is essentially what it is, you know. So yeah, that'll be it. Hopefully.
Thank you.
I think, or if we take these two parts into the subconscious and then the conscious, meaning conscious being reality, what's happening in my real life, I'll take the conscious aspect first. So more times than not, I feel like I find myself feeling like I'm more appropriate when I'm in sanity, meaning when I'm manically high. And I've never really disassociated myself from that state, meaning I feel like that was the right state. And, you know, a lot of times the people that have certain manic states will tell you, if you're manically high, everything just aligns, everything just fits, everything just makes so much sense. And, you know, usually get to the point when you go down, which is the minor state, and it doesn't feel right. You feel like you're just not a part of this world, and you feel like you're disconnected. Everything feels absolutely disassociating, right? But that is essentially the counterbalance. And initially, I thought maybe insanity is just my natural state and Mito wisdom. But I think it's kind of more fair to say insanity is a lot more of my dangerous state than Mito. So Mito has been serving as always the protector, and hence it's kind of like comes to clean up the shit. Sorry, I mean comes to clean up all the things that that insanity has left, the path of destruction. Now then we take that to the story form. So you understand why the relationship between Mito and insanity is not have never been good to begin with. It's kind of like the two opposing factors, but it's kind of like the Joker and the Batman, right? Through the distinct relationship and the building of that relationship, you get to find out more and more about what it's like to see Mito through insanity's perspective and vice versa. Now, to tie all of this in, is insanity really Christian you? Maybe on the surface, but I'll leave you with this. What if the clown god wasn't really the creator of all of this? What if there was another creator that created the clown god and the clown god was acting as the messenger? And Mito has known this all along, which is why Mito does not want to submit. What if there's another character?
Whoa.
Far beyond the clown god, and the clown god is just being puppeted. And I'll leave you with that.
Interesting.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with might be a little cliche of an answer, but I think the closest thing to magic in my world is DPR. Essentially DPR, and it's not just because of what we do in DPR. It's because of what it's because of what we bring and who we bring together as a community. If that's not magic, I don't know what is. Imagine bringing all sorts of people around the world together, one community, under one umbrella, and literally growing together in terms of vision, obviously in age. I've had a fair share of it. No, and I intend on building this vision for DPR until my kids see the fruition of it. And I would love for not only the people that we build it with, but the people that we build it for to be a part of this journey too. I would love to see your grandkids, and respectfully your kids as well, being able to watch our journey and be like, Mama, like, who is this freaky guy with one eye? So it's Mito love. But just bringing that community together to have something to talk about at the table, and just literally just being excited for something and being a part of that journey and being part of the world. I couldn't think of anything more magical than that. Right? And dreamers are an exceptional part of it. So honestly, yeah, my answer would be DPR. Yeah. Anything here, but the hybrid album is definitely gonna be a mark for everyone to be excited about. We're working so effortlessly hard on that, and as you guys probably know, we're going to be starting our shows real soon.
Ooh.
So expect a lot from that. We are putting absolutely a masterpiece for that. So more importantly, can't wait to see you guys there.
Yes.
All right, we're getting controversial. No, I think, number one, yes, I do. Aren't we a form of aliens?
Yes,
Are you an alien?
Very true.
What does it look like?
We don't know.
You don't know?
Movies has portrayed them in different ways.
That is true. Why do you think they
True.
did that? Like E.T. Do you
We
think
don't
their
know.
fingers are elongated like that?
They've always made it elongated.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah. Wouldn't it be interesting to just one day you have like a UFO or a flying saucer come in?
Of course.
And then it lands, and then the aliens come out. We finally get to see what the aliens look like,
And
and they just look like us, but the nose and the mouths are
Ooh.
replaced, switch places.
excuse me?
So the mouths are here, the nose down here.
Ah.
So mouths. Sorry, my
I'm
bad.
gonna have to draw this.
Yeah, okay,
I'm
yes.
trying to
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I get it.
But-
Basically, they're like us.
Yeah, they're like us, slightly different.
Slightly different.
Yes, slightly
I would believe
different.
that.
Yes, I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's quite a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
okay.
Very
No,
much.
but yes, simply put it, yes.
Yes. That's the main answer.
Have I thought about this a lot?
Oh.
I think to be fair, I think I would. I think
Okay.
I would.
Give
I
us the
think,
game plan, the run
well,
through.
first of all, I'm gonna go back into the back room. I'm gonna bring Insanity out, and
Ooh.
I'm gonna have Insanity dabble his little bit of magic, only to realize zombies don't give a shit. I mean, sorry, zombies don't care about
It's okay.
zombies don't care. But by the way, am I allowed to swear on this?
Yeah, we'll just beep you out.
Oh, okay, yes, sorry, okay, yeah. So Insanity. So not Insanity. The zombies don't give a shit, you know, about
You can do it.
about Insanity's powers. But then I'll go to sometimes people like to think go to the grocery stores, kind of like Ralph's or something
Right.
like that, you know.
Costco.
And yeah, but then you just be living out your days. I think I'll get through the portion of food just like that. I'll probably eat myself to death. Right?
But knowing that, like, you're right.
Absolutely, they'll
So would that be a?
You'd be competing for food.
well in zombie movies you always see them. You always see somebody gathering the crops for the biggest person. So it eventually turns out to be a human versus human type of thing.
It is.
Don't even really matter at a
yeah.
certain point. So I do feel like it's going to get to that point. You'll probably be more endangered by your own species than the ones that are dead.
Or the
You heard
alien.
Humans. Be humans. Zombies next. And then zombie dogs. All right?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Like toothpicks.
Oh,
It's kind of scary.
You know what? You're right.
yes.
Think about it. You're holding a toothpick.
I want to elaborate on toothpicks.
I mean, like you're holding a toothpick.
That does bring a bit. That's a good call. It does
That's
remind
my
me of
weirdest
something.
fear.
Sharp earrings.
Mm.
Because the earrings that have like a bit of
Yeah.
a hook or something like that
Right.
going out. I know some people have like pointy ass earrings. And then
Oh.
what if you fall on that
Wow.
and then you kill an ant or something?
An ant.
Yeah.
It's on your conscience forever, man.
Yeah. You know what I mean? No, but no. And to be fair, okay. So the earrings, great. But also, I do have a fear of I swear to God, I had it in my mind and I just lost it. Of forgetting. There we go.
That is a fear.
I have a fear of forgetting. Yeah. I have a fear. I
You
mean,
manifested it. You feared it so much.
yeah. You're seeing the fear live right now, ladies and gentlemen.
It's right here.
Yeah, forgetting. Yeah, there we go. That's it.
Okay,
That'll be it.
okay.
Forgetting. Yeah.
All right. Any
Here we go, y'all.
Yes. So
buckle in.
So I've come across this very, very interesting creature that I did not knew existed, but apparently did. And it's a creature called the Hyrax.
Oh.
Hi, Rex.
Have you seen? Are you informed of the
You
Hyrax?
have told me about it.
Yes, I have. And so
You
it's
have
a
the
fascinating.
picture on you.
Yes, I do. It's a fascinating creature. Are you gonna put up?
Yeah, we can explain it.
Yeah, put it on my
Yes.
face. See the resemblance.
Replace your face with
Do it. Alright, so no, you have to see it. Give me a second here.
He showed it
One moment, guys.
to us, and
Look at it. Look at it. What is it? It's a crossbreed between a vampire and a mouse. It's a vampiric mouse. So this one it looks like a hybrid.
Yes.
But it's called a Hyrax, right? Cute creatures. The animals from Africa, I believe, originate from Africa. Correct me if I'm wrong, but absolutely cute little things. But once it shows its teeth,
right.
not so cute anymore. So I love that little